Hi, welcome to this podcast live stream. If you're watching from the membership, or welcome to the podcast if you're listening on the podcast. Welcome to another episode. We're going to be talking about the new moon in Sagittarius that we had earlier today. For me in Paris, it was about 12 hours ago. I was sleeping, but I honestly have been feeling it all weekend. Let me open up the chat so I don't miss any questions or anything from you guys while we're live. But so yeah, for me, Sagittarius is really an energy that comes down to what are we believing, right? And when we apply this to the new moons are about beginnings that start 6-month cycles. If you've taken the Manifest with the Moon class that I have in the membership, then you already know my whole perspective and opinion of new moons. And they really are something that triggers a new cycle to begin within that area of our chart. So for me, I have been, and there's a lot else going on, there always is in the sky. We have a Mercury retrograde in Sag as well, which the new moon wasn't close to the Mercury retrograde, but the moon will go over Mercury retrograde tomorrow. The new moon was at 9 degrees. So if you have anything in mutable signs there, if you have anything in Sag there, it's going to be amplified. If you have anything in any other mutable sign, Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, it is going to kind of add tension to those placements in your chart. So that's how you can apply it to your chart individually. My hair keeps getting stuck in my AirPod. But in general, like I said, new moons begin 6-month cycles. So this is really a beginning of a chapter as it relates to the area of life you have Sagittarius ruling and how your belief systems are playing into what you want to create in that area of your life. So for me, I got off on a tangent. I always bring it full circle. I have Venus and Gemini as my chart ruler. So Gemini placements like to go off on tangents, but hopefully we always bring it back. So this is me bringing this back around. For me, this has been showing up in my communication because it's in my third house, and it's really been affecting my French learning skills. I've been learning French since last year when Mercury was in Sagittarius, and so me coming to France was in an intentional embodiment of that. Like I wanted to come here to really immerse myself in French culture and really become fluent in the French language. And so Mercury retrograde and the new moon specifically have been like me just getting more determined with that, being more committed to that journey. When Mercury first went retrograde, I like had a couple days where I was like, I don't even want to speak French. Like I can't even think straight, like in my first language, so I kind of got lazy with it. But as we've gotten closer to this new moon, it's come back around for me. And today I really put a lot of full effort in to not speak any English to anybody that I interacted with. And that's how it's been showing up for me is like, I really want to master this language. I really want to be able to have a second language, a fluency with a second language in my toolbox, so to speak. So that's how it's been showing up for me, and I really just have felt it all day today. Like I went out to eat and I forced myself to speak French the whole time. And it's working really when you just put yourself in, like you just throw yourself in the fire and you adapt, right? It's such a beautiful thing, a beautiful ability that we have as human beings to adapt to our circumstances and our situation, no matter what that may be. And I see Sagittarius energy as being that. What's the word? Like Sagittarius energy to me is the most adaptable because it's mutable fire. It really knows how to adapt to whatever is around it. And really have that optimism no matter what. Like I've made so many friends over here that have Sag placements, funny enough. And I made a few friends before I left the States that had Sag placements, and they just have this beautiful natural optimism about things. They really do are able they really are able to see the brighter side of life. And that's their perspective, that's their viewpoint. And this is why I was saying that to me, Sagittarius energy really all comes back to what are you believing to be possible, to be true for yourself and your life, because that's what you're going to create. And I really see this with my Sagittarius friends. It's like whatever they focus on, whatever they put their energy into and believe is possible for them, they make happen. And it comes to fruition. And so that is really this energy. I've seen a few videos on scrolling my For You page on TikTok talking about how this new moon is really great for manifesting. But then I've also seen other people saying that, it isn't great for manifesting because Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Jupiter right now is retrograde and we have the Mercury retrograde. They're in mutual reception. So mutual reception means that both planets are in the opposite sign of the sign that they rule. So Mercury rules Gemini, Mercury is in Sag, Jupiter rules Sag, and and Jupiter is in Gemini. Does that make sense? So it's like the opposite of what is naturally, what that planet naturally wants to be in. Does that make sense? Like in my chart, I have a mutual reception between Mercury and Venus because Venus rules Taurus. My Venus is in Gemini and my Mercury is in Taurus. So they're like kind of in the opposite, they're in the opposite sign of what they want to be in. Same thing with what's going on in the sky right now between Mercury and Jupiter. Like Mercury wants to be in Gemini, Jupiter wants to be in Sagittarius, but right now Jupiter is in Gemini and Mercury is in Sagittarius, right? Hopefully I didn't over-explain that, but yeah. So, and I think both things are true. I think that, this is probably my Sag moon and my Venus in Gemini, like in Libra rising. I see both sides of things. I really do see the duality of everything. And for me, yes, this new moon is a great time to really set intentions around what you want to call in over the next 6 months, what you want to manifest, what you want to create in your life, and looking at any belief systems that are coming up for you that may be you were telling you it's not possible or telling you like it can't happen in the way that you want it to, or whatever the case may be. Like, I think right now is an important time to look on that because again, we are in a Mercury retrograde, and Mercury retrogrades are about reflection and reassessment as it relates to your mindset, your belief systems, how you're viewing things and how you're communicating the things that you believe, because it all stems from our belief system, right? So our beliefs create our thoughts and our thoughts create our reality, what we experience in our reality. And that is like cliche Sag energy to me. So the fact that we have Mercury retrograde in that energy, and we also have a new moon right now in that energy, is asking for us to get clear on what beliefs that we want to change that maybe have been creating something in our life that we don't really want anymore. So like I was saying, for me, I was actually telling a friend this the other day, like, because they were saying like, oh my God, it is kind of cool, like how good your French is when like your comprehension is really great. You can understand what people are saying just like on the street or whatever. And like when you speak French, it's really good. And I was like, yeah, like for me, it really has come down to believing that I know more than I think I do. Like, sure, I'm not fluent. I can't have like a deep, full-on conversation with somebody in French about like politics or about like deep spiritual stuff, but I can get by. And it's because I have the belief that like, oh, like I can do it, and I've like thrown myself into the fire that has strengthened that belief, that strengthened my confidence in it. And whenever I feel a blockage between like my comprehension of French and my speaking level, it's literally because I get insecure and I get really in my head of like, oh, I didn't understand the full sentence of what they said. So like what, blah, blah, blah. And I still have moments where like, I don't understand fully what someone is saying to me, but I can pick up keywords and based on the context of the situation, like understand what they're saying. Like when earlier today at the restaurant, the waiter was like, she was like, oh, do you want dessert? And she said this in French. And I heard like, well, she just said, on peut dessert. And I was like, no, merci. And then she was like, do you just want the check? And I just heard like check, like le décision, and put two and two together, right? That she was asking me if I just wanted the check. And I was, yes, oui. s'il vous plaît. Does this make sense? So it's like really when we over mental things, that's where the blocks happen. That's where we slow down our progress. That's where we stagnate. And we stop ourselves from creating what we want. We stop ourselves from believing we can have what we want when we overly rely on our mental faculties. Versus if we just like are really present in the moment, so much more is possible from that place. I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. But I feel like that's a lot of what this Mercury and Sag is bringing up collectively is a reflection on, did I say Mercury retrograde? I meant to say new moon, but they both apply because the new moon is really amplifying it and having us focus on, okay, what intentions do we want to set here? That Mercury retrograde may also be bringing up, right? Because they're, for most of us, if you go off whole sign houses, they're in the same house. These transits are in the same house, the same area of life for you. So it's just going to be a double amplification of whatever has been coming up for you around the Mercury retrograde. Right. And so for me, it's just been, like I was saying, a lot of belief systems and like reaffirming to myself that I can do it. I can do hard things. And for me, I keep saying Mercury retrograde, but it's the new moon. The new moon for me today was opposite my Venus. And Venus is my chart ruler. And being in a Mars year for me personally, Mars is my time lord this year because of the perfection year that I'm in. I talked about this a little bit in my recent YouTube live that I did. That's on my YouTube channel under the live videos if you want to go watch that. I am in a Mars is my time lord this year. So relationships are a big focus. I'm in a 7th house perfection year, and relationships are a big focus for me. My solar return chart also mirrored that. Anyways, so this new moon is opposite my Venus, and it really has brought up a lot of themes for me around what I believe I'm worthy of or capable of creating when it comes to partnership with the opposite sex, because that's something I've been working on manifesting for the past couple years, is a partnership. And at this point, I'm so detached from it so much more than I used to be, that it's honestly making the whole process easier. But that's a big part of what's been coming up for me today is like, okay, these men that I've been chatting with, these men that I've been hanging out with that aren't fully aligned with my standards, like, need to go. And I'm stepping into this new belief that like I get to have the what I want when it comes to a partnership with a man. Like I get to have the type of man that I want. I get to have the man who initiates, like no matter if there's all these like, men have kind of lost a lot of their masculine initiation skills. Like that doesn't apply to me because the men that I attract, the men that I deal with haven't lost that. Right. So for me, again, it all comes down to believing. And this is why I was saying too, like what else is going on with this new moon for you based on your chart? For me, it's not only opposite I actually have a lot of things in early degree mutable signs. So if you do as well, that's going to bring in those placements for you too. My Saturn is at 10 degrees. Pisces, this new moon is at 9 degrees. So it almost exactly is squaring my Saturn. Like I already said, it's opposite my Jupiter, or it's opposite my Venus. And the new moon in Sag is also kind of very loosely, like it's a 7-degree orb, squaring my Chiron. So there's a lot of themes for me this whole weekend and really today of like healing those beliefs that were holding me back in terms of attracting the kind of man that I want in my life, right? Whether or not it's a long-term relationship. Because like I said, at this point, I'm very detached from like what happens, where it goes. It like I was so focused before on finding the one, but it's like, you know what, I just really want to have fun. I just want to like have fun with somebody. And if it goes somewhere like serious, great. But if it doesn't, great, because I just want to also expand my awareness and my like subconscious, like train my subconscious to see this as possible, because I've never really had the kind of relationship that I want before. So it's all new to me to even be attracting it in the first place, to even be setting intentions around it in the first place. And it takes a lot of belief system work, like I was talking about earlier. Like your belief systems really create your life. And a lot of us don't want to believe that it is that simple, or find it unfathomable that it is that simple, but it really truly is. It really truly is. And I believe this is the greatest lesson that Sagittarius energy teaches us, is what we experience in our life all comes down to what we believe. For someone, and this is why you may know people in your life that have it really easy when it comes to relationships, or they just, they said they wanted to meet their husband and they did, like 2 days later or 2 weeks later, or whatever it is, like, and you feel like these people are just so lucky, so lucky, so lucky. That's Jupiter energy. That's Sag energy. These people aren't just lucky. Like, they believe it's possible for them, and they don't have anything in their mindset or in their belief systems that is holding them back from having the thing. That's why people appear lucky, right? And that's cliche Jupiter and Sagittarius energy. So for me, that's really what this new moon is bringing up for us collectively. Let me share my screen for you guys watching in the membership, because I want to talk a little bit more about the human design of this new moon, and a little bit more of the astrology that's going on as well. So this new moon is in gate 9, which is called the taming power of the small. It's really, and it's in line 5, which is about faith, right? And there's this person that I'm in their membership, and it's how would I describe that? Anyways, we can just say that I'm in their membership, and they do daily like audio drops, and they just talk about what's going on for them, and it's like little inspirational audio drops every day. And the one today, it's just so funny that all of this stuff always lines up no matter what, was about having faith. Like, you set a goal for yourself, or you have something you want to manifest, and even if it looks like it's not possible, like, still having that faith that it's going to happen. And that's when it happens, right? Like they always say, or there's that cliche quote, that what you want comes right after the moment where you feel like you want to give up. And this has been true. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on about stories in my life where this has been so true. And that's the energy of this new moon being in gate 9 and in line 5 with the keynote of faith. Is like, again, what are you manifesting in your life, and how can you really just hold on to the faith that it's possible? If you've already listened to the Mercury and Mars retrograde episode I did, then I talked about this a lot, how things aren't feeling like they're moving forward right now, because we have the Mercury retrograde. The fastest moving planet is retrograde right now. It's slowing things down. It's in mutual reception with Jupiter, who is also in retrograde right now, in the fastest moving sign of Gemini, right? So things aren't moving forward super quickly. And we have a Mars retrograde coming up. Mars is the planet of action and initiation. And with it going to be retrograde until the end of February, it's like I'm telling y'all, next spring is going to be crazy, crazy, crazy in the best way for all of us that have really been disciplined with what we are choosing to create in our lives, what we are choosing to bring in. And these next couple months may feel like things have stalled or things have stagnated, or again, they might just feel like they're moving more slowly than normal. But it's because it's everything is falling into place in the way that it needs to fall into place to create the thing that we want, right? Like, it's all going to make sense 6 months from now. Full circle again, this is a new moon, which begins a 6-month cycle. It's all going to make sense with the full moon in Sagittarius we have in Gemini season next year. Like, it's all going to make sense. But just know that right now it's going to feel like things are moving more slowly than we want them to, or than, we feel like they should. But it's for a reason. It's for a reason. So yeah, and the gate 9 to me, like where this new moon was today, is really about staying focused on the end goal, right? Staying focused on, this is like basic manifestation law of attraction principle, right? If you're familiar with that kind of stuff. Like the basic principle of law of attraction, of manifestation, of creating what you want is being in the energy of the end result. It's already here. You know, like for me, I already have a man that I have fun with, that we go on dates with, that like he shows me around the city and we just have a fun time. Like we just vibe. Like it's already here. And I'm already living from that place of like, yeah, it's done. And so to me, with this new moon being in the ninth gate, that's what I think of is like, I'm trying to see if I can click on this and get more information. I don't think there's another place I can look to get more information about the ninth gate. But to me, that's what I'm taking away from it is like being focused on what we want, not being focused on all the ways that, you know, it hasn't shown up for us or we don't think it's possible or all like what I was saying earlier, like all the things that are stagnating us, all the limiting beliefs, all the rampant thoughts in our minds that are creating like resistance around having what we want, right? None of that stuff is helpful. So again, being in the energy of like, it's already here, it's done, instead of the opposite, because that's going to call it in faster. And it's going to create so much peace in our lives to just freaking live our lives and know that what we want is like literally on the way. It's just a matter of when, right? Okay, so I'm going to show you guys. I know there's a way I can get more information about the ninth gate without leaving genetic matrix. Okay, so I found it. And what it says is, I'm going to have to translate this as with most human design things. If you're not new to human design and like its teachings, which is why I've created all the things I've created in human design to give you guys a simplified translations of everything, because a lot of it just doesn't make sense. It's channeled stuff, so it's in its pure form isn't going to make much easy sense. But anyways, potential can be fulfilled through detailed attention to all pertinent aspects. So to me, what that means is, again, the translation of it is that the manifestation of what we want, right? Potential can be fulfilled through detailed attention to all pertinent aspects. So what I was speaking to earlier of like, what are the nitty-gritty belief systems in your mind, like your mindset around this thing that you want that may be hindering it from coming into your life? And how can you reevaluate those? How can you really shift those belief systems at a core subconscious level in order to heal them, in order to really manifest something different in your life that is what you actually want to manifest, right? Because the absence of having what we want is really just a matter of showing us where we're misaligned with that thing. Does that make sense? So it's really just something that shows us, hey, this is what's in your field, what's in your mindset that's creating what you have right now that is different from what you want. And here's how you can change where you're currently resonating at, what your mindset is currently believing about what's possible for you as it relates to that thing, so you can have that thing. But I hate to even use the like so that you can, because it's really not a matter of that. It's a matter of like being in that energy, and then it will just come. It will just come so effortlessly and so natural. It won't even feel like something you like had to do so that you could. You know what I mean? Hopefully that's all making sense, because I feel like I'm talking in a little bit of a code, but I don't know how else to say it. Because these are really kind of bigger spiritual principles, which is also very Sagittarius energy. I would argue that Sagittarius is one of the most religious signs, up there next to Pisces. But Sagittarius is really the energy of having faith and having optimism in larger than life things, and things that are greater than us, right? And you want to call it God, you want to call it the universe, you want to call it source, whatever it is. It's having that faith in the divine that is working with us, co-creating with us to achieve whatever it is we are manifesting and working towards, right? So more information about gate 9 with the 5th gate, again, where the new moon was today, is it has the keynote of The trust that detailed adherence. The trust that detailed adherence will lead to fulfillment. I feel like I need to Google Translate that because I don't know what that means. Is there a typo? The trust that detailed adherence will lead to fulfillment. Okay, I think I understand. Again, it's like making all the things within us cohesive to this end result. Yeah, the definition of adherence is see, this is again where human design stuff has to be translated sometimes. Adherence definition: attachment or commitment to a person, cause, or belief. The trust that detailed adherence will lead to fulfillment. Again, everything I've been saying this whole time. This is the very specific and detailed energy of this new moon, is when we really look at the human design of it. And so again, what it's telling us is we really have to remain attached to our faith at this time that is bringing what we want to us. You know, whether that's a successful business that you've been working towards for a year, whether that's a successful relationship that you've gone on so many freaking dates to try and find for years, you know, whether that is whatever it is for you, right? It's going to show up differently for you based on your personal life and what's going on in your personal chart as well. But it's just about being steadfast with the end result. It's adhering, right? It's remaining attached to and committed to the end result and the end goal, especially because we do have this new moon squaring Saturn as well. So this again is bringing up the energy of what I was saying earlier, that things may feel like they're not moving fast enough. Like we've put in all of this work, and this just seems like a big collective message that keeps coming up again and again and again right now. It's like we've put in all this work. Why is it not creating the thing that we want? And it's like, because there's more pieces of the puzzle that have to fall into place before what we want happens, before it all comes together in the divine way that it's meant to. So we just really need to keep the faith alive and trust that it is coming together no matter what it looks like right now. There's a divine orchestration. There's a divine orchestration. There's divine timing to all of this. And it's just really, this new moon is bringing up the faith that we need to have around that. And maybe any belief systems that are challenging that faith, or again, telling us it's not possible, telling us it can never happen because it's never happened before, and blah, 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 blah. Beliefs are just beliefs. We can change them. It's just a mindset. It's just a way of viewing life. It's just a perspective, and that can always be shifted. So yeah. We also have Venus squaring Chiron right now. I mean, that peaked a few days ago, but it's still happening. It's at 4 degrees orb right now, so it is lessening. Venus will be on Pluto this upcoming next weekend as well. I believe Saturday, like almost a week from today when I'm filming this on December 1st, we will have Venus on Pluto. But right now, Venus is challenging Chiron. So again, it's bringing up things we need to look at and heal as it relates to our self-worth, our values, our belief systems, our relationships, our money. Things are coming up for us to look at so that we can heal those things. Again, that are just the final puzzle pieces fitting together to create this full puzzle that is the manifestation of what we want and what we've been creating. So yeah, that makes me really excited. I really have, like I was saying to y'all earlier, I really just feel like I'm in this detachment phase now, this beautiful, like, I'm no longer attached to how or when of, finding a man or whatever. And it feels like such a relief. It feels like so satisfying to just be like, I don't really, I mean, I care, but I don't have attachment to it anymore. I'm just going to keep living my life, and I know it will all fall into place. It will all come together when I least expect it. And that's a part of the mystery of life. That's a part of the great surprise that we're in. Like, if the great movie that we are living, if you already knew how the movie you were watching was going to go and how it was going to end, and like how that person in the beginning was going to meet that, their person that they said at the beginning of the movie they wanted to meet, like, you wouldn't watch the movie, right? So that's how life is. And I really, that kind of analogy to life has always just stuck with me, of like, it gets to be a surprise, and that's a good thing, because that is what life is about, is letting it kind of unfold as we're in it, and letting it take us by surprise, letting it shock us. I think we still have, no, hold on, let me see. I was gonna say we might have something in the gate of shock right now, but I don't know that we do. No, we don't anymore. That would have been a funny, like, cliche thing if we had a planet in the gate of shock. I don't know what degrees of Aries the gate of shock rules. If you have my ebook, it's in there. But we will have things in early degree Aries next year that are going to stay there for a while. So we might have the gate in shock and transit. Again, don't quote me on that because I don't know exactly. We might have the gate of shock and transit in the spring, and that's going to bring a lot of things to our life that, again, will kind of shock us. So yeah, let it be a little bit of a mystery and a little bit of surprise, and just hold to the faith right now because it all is coming together. It all is coming in. Just because you don't have it now doesn't mean you can't sooner than you think. And yeah, that's really all I want to say about this new moon in Sagittarius. So happy new moon. If you want to join the creation of the podcast and be a part of it while I'm doing it live, come join the membership. There's a forum inside the membership for you to post chart questions, share your experiences. There's 35 plus videos I've taught on astrology and human design inside as well that you have access to all of those amazing things when you're a member of the community. So come join. Hope to see you inside. But if not, I'll see you on the next podcast episode. So thank you all for being here. I love you, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.